At my mom's birthday dinner, my dad labeled me an idiot and announced, "You've always been self-centered. Your sister outshines you in every way." Everyone went quiet. I replied steadily, "You won't see another dollar from me." What should have been a straightforward family get-together spiraled into chaos. I'd kept my distance from them for months after I finally stopped acting as their endless cash source. But no matter how much space I put between us, they always managed to reel me in again. This occasion was disguised as honoring my mother's birthday. Not showing up would just reinforce their story of me being the disloyal child, so I went. As expected, I picked up the tab at the restaurant, a high-end spot, much too extravagant for their usual preferences. Not that they couldn't enjoy elegant meals, but because they never paid a cent themselves. My parents had mastered the skill of draining others dry while acting like they were graciously allowing the help. The strain was obvious from the second I walked in. My sister offered a quick acknowledgement. My aunts and uncles gave courteous hellos. But my parents? My dad hardly looked my way from his glass, and my mom behaved as if my attendance was a gift she'd bestowed on me. The meal started, and for a bit it was bearable. I put up with the superficial chatter, the forced chuckles, and the empty banter. Then my father, who'd been hitting the booze hard, directed his glare at me and snarled, "You've always been self-centered. Your sister is far better than you." It wasn't playful or casual. He meant it deeply, like it was an absolute fact. The table froze. My sister fidgeted uneasily, my mom kept eating like nothing occurred, and the other relatives either averted their eyes or acted deaf to it. Nobody ever confronted him, nobody ever pushed back, except me. I placed my utensil down, dabbed my lips, and met his stare. "You won't get any more money from me." That sparked a response. His expression contorted in rage, his teeth ground together, and for the first real moment that evening, he actually registered me. My mother at last paused her meal, my aunts shared looks, and the mood changed. Because the whole family understood the reality. My parents weren't interested in me, they were interested in my wallet. For years, I'd given them funds every time they fed me a pity tale about their hardships. But they weren't in hardship. They were blowing it on betting, on unnecessary splurges, on stuff I won't detail. I worked in high-end real estate, closing deals on premium homes in LA, dealing with elite clients. All the while, I'd channeled thousands to my parents, who handled my earnings like toy money, and I'd had enough. My dad's look grew stormier. My mother, seeing her standard approach of pretending problems didn't exist failing, ramped things up. She seized a soup tureen, poised to fling it my direction like in some low-budget soap opera. My aunt just managed to intervene, but that hardly calmed anything. My mom rose and yelled at me across the whole dining room, branding me thankless, insisting I was indebted to them for all they'd provided. Their meal. The meal that I had covered. Then she followed through anyway. She yanked the tureen free and launched it toward me. Scalding, thick broth splashed over my fresh suit, the one I'd gotten for a key appointment the following day. I jumped up fast, almost toppling my seat. My father fumed, my mother howled, and the remaining family stared in shock. Not one soul defended me. That sealed it. I'd stomached their put-downs, their scheming, their constant requests, but this was intentional, this was in public. I stayed composed, no shouting, no debating. I snatched my keys and exited. And as I departed, I resolved something. They'd seen me as an ATM for years, but they'd overlooked a key detail. The home they occupied. The vehicle they used, both belonged to me. If they insisted on treating me like I was worthless, I'd demonstrate what worthless truly meant. The morning after, I reclaimed everything. I hardly rested that night. My suit was destroyed. My phone kept vibrating with messages from kin pushing me to rise above it. I kept reliving the moment. My dad's arrogant smirk, my mom's performance, how only my grandfather had offered me any real sympathy. That's when it hit me. They'd never improve. By sunrise, I'd made up my mind. I brewed coffee and began phoning, first my property lawyer. The house was titled to me. My parents had never reviewed the documents. 2 occupied bragging to acquaintances about their fancy residence. I told my lawyer to put it on the market right away. Next, their vehicle also mine. I set up repossession. Then, just to cover bases, I reviewed their credit card records. I'd co-signed one long ago when they pleaded for help improving their score. Huge error. The expenses were insane. Gambling venues, posh resorts, buying binges. I claimed the card lost and shut it down. By midday, I was boarding a plane to Los Angeles for work. I had bigger priorities than awaiting their breakdown. But it came quickly. The initial call was my mother shrieking about the vanished car. I let it go to voicemail. The next was my father raging about how I destroyed their existence. Erased. Then my sister contacted me, begging for mercy. "They're freaking out," she said. "They have no place to stay." I sent one text back, "Not my issue." By my arrival, my lawyer had prospects lined up for the house. In that market, it had moved quickly. Then the true twist arrived. My grandfather phoned. Grandpa stayed out of family conflicts. He was traditional, quiet, the kind who only talked when it mattered. But now he had words. "Well done, son." I was floored. He revealed he'd cautioned my parents repeatedly to quit taking advantage of me. They ignored him. He said they had it coming, that perhaps bottoming out would force growth. Then he suggested hold off selling the house. "I've got a plan." I had no idea what he meant. But for the first time in ages, I felt supported. We met at a low-key cafe on the outskirts. Grandpa nursed his plain coffee, eyed me thoughtfully, and eventually said, "Your dad believes he's invincible. Time he discovers loss. Rather than selling outright, we'd let them sweat. Let them see the car missing, their credit locked, their cushion gone. After years of luxury funded by me, they'd taste real struggle. Then at their nadir, I wouldn't sell, I'd lease it. To strangers. What if they plead?" I questioned. Grandpa grinned, "Then we forced them to earn it." My parents had never earned much. They anticipated freebies. But if Grandpa could ensure real accountability, I was on board. I informed my lawyer, switched to rental listing. Full price, no breaks. 2 days on, the panic intensified. My father rang, questioning the rental ad for their home. My mother left sobbing messages. My sister flooded me with notes. "They're frantic. They have no options." The highlight? My dad inquired about borrowing funds for a deposit. I chuckled and responded, "You labeled me selfish. Handle it yourselves." When pleading didn't work, they appeared at my workplace. I was in a session when my assistant anxiously said, "Your parents are here. They won't budge." I stepped out to see my father seething, my mother acting wounded, and my sister lingering uneasily. "You believe you can just kick us out?" My father barked. I stayed level. "If you want to stay, apply normally, show you can afford it." My mother exploded. "We're family, you ought to support us." I looked at my sister. She appeared drained but stayed mute. She always did. My father mocked, "You're nobody without us. You owe everything to us." It broke something in me. "Owe you?" I moved nearer. "I built my success while you squandered every dollar I sent. Now you're penniless because you never anticipated this." "Well, it's here." His face flushed. My mother inhaled sharply. My sister retreated. I gestured to my assistant, "Get security." Soon they were removed. My father spewing slurs, my mother crying about my disloyalty, my sister following quietly. Watching them go, I felt an unforeseen sensation. Release. Then Grandpa rang once more. Perfect. Now let's intensify it. The following day, pandemonium broke loose. My phone exploded with notifications. Then Grandpa's steady tone. "Check the news. My father was detained." The story, local resident nabbed after upscale hotel altercation. He and my mother had checked into a lavish place, run up a huge tab, and declined payment. When challenged, my father pushed a guard and attempted escape. Cops subdued him. Grandpa had alerted the hotel. I laughed hard enough to ache. Meanwhile, the house secured a deal, not rental but teardown. A builder intended to raise it. My sister implored me to rethink. "They're sleeping in the car, not my concern," I replied. Days later, Grandpa called me to the cafe again. There opposite him sat my father, shattered, beaten. "I've lost it all," he whispered. Grandpa prodded him. "He needs to request something, a position," my father said softly. I nearly burst out laughing. "You want employment from me?" He nodded. "I have no alternatives." I examined him. The man who demeaned me, embarrassed me, allowed my mother to douse me in soup, now pleading with me as his final option. And I felt zero. I rose, dropped money for Grandpa's drink, and stated, "Choices lead to outcomes." "You showed me that." Then I left. For years, I'd allowed their exploitation, wishing for genuine affection. They never had it. They only wanted my resources. Now they possessed none. And me? I possessed it all. Liberty, serenity, and an existence free of their poison. For the first time, I rested deeply, secure in knowing the only one I had to focus on was myself. If you enjoyed this story and felt the emotions behind it, don't forget to give it a like, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel for more real-life experiences and heartfelt stories. Your support means the world, and it helps us bring more content like this to you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.